So brace yourselves. Here's a look at who Donald's nominee for the director of the FBI is.
Thanks so much for having me here.
Kash Patel is a star of the right-wing podcast ecosystem, an aggressive defender of Donald Trump who has spent months calling for revenge against the president-elect's critics and perceived enemies.
We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
A former lawyer and first-term Trump staffer who worked in intelligence, this is the man Trump wants leading the FBI. He spread the lie the 2020 election was stolen and has railed against the justice system, claiming it was weaponized against Trump to blunt his political comeback.
By the way, just for the record, being a star of the right-wing podcast ecosystem is not something to aspire to. Anyway, Donald's highly controversial nominee for director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation has been appointed simply because he's a spineless sycophant who's willing to do whatever Donald tells him to do, and who is also eager to exact revenge on Donald's perceived enemies. But what does Patel have to say about the very organization he may be poised to lead?
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
Okay, that's sane, and it absolutely instills confidence, doesn't it? So other than that, why else is Kash Patel so dangerous? Well, first of all, he's a conspiracy theorist of the highest order. Lack of qualifications aside, Patel's affinity for conspiracy theories should be a non-starter in and of itself. Patel is a MAGA Kool-Aid drinker who not only became a vocal advocate of Donald's lie that the 2020 election was stolen, but he's also championed January 6th insurrectionists by calling them patriots, also following in Donald's footsteps. Perhaps even worse, Patel has trafficked in QAnon conspiracy theories, which are among the most unhinged and include things like Pizzagate and the belief that JFK Jr., who died in 1999, is still alive. Patel, who sat on True Social's board of directors, suggested in June of 2020 that the platform tried to, quote, incorporate, unquote, QAnon into our overall messaging scheme in order to capture audiences. Patel also shares Donald's disdain, or I should just say hatred, of the media. Let's take a look at Patel's plan to, quote, go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media, unquote. This is from a visit to Steve Bannon's podcast back in 2023.
We learned in the Trump administration the first go around is we got to put in all America patriots top to bottom. And we got them for law enforcement. We got them for intel collection. We got them for offensive operations. We got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
This probably shouldn't need to be said, but that's actually not what the FBI is for. Just ask Herbert Hoover. Anyway, I guess thankfully, Patel's nomination is not going over well in certain quarters. Reportedly, the nomination is sending shockwaves through Washington. And over the weekend, Democrats and even some former Trump officials expressed their outrage. John Bolton, the former national security advisor, compared the nomination of Patel to Joseph Stalin's secret police chief. Fortunately, the FBI is not Stalin's secret police, and the Senate should reject his nomination 100-0, Bolton said. Not surprisingly, though, there are plenty of Republicans in Kash Patel's corner. For instance, this weekend, Senator Bill Hagerty echoed Patel's FBI conspiracy theories. Check out this clip.
He represents the type of change that we need to see in the FBI. If you think about the failures of background checks that have taken place, how could we have somebody like Colin Kahl who tweeted out classified information? I went to the FBI myself. They ignored me. Basically, he was confirmed on a party line vote in the U.S. Senate with Kamala Harris, breaking the tie to put this person that should not even have a security clearance in the third most powerful position at DOD.
Okay, I mean, he's a backbencher, and I have to be honest with you, I completely forgot he existed until I saw that clip. But it's not just him. I mean, there are more prominent senators like Ted Cruz who are 100% behind Patel. Luckily, though, there are Democratic senators like Chris Murphy of Connecticut who are making their views known.
So I will vote no, and I will organize not just my colleagues, but the American public to understand what's happening here. Donald Trump told the American public during the campaign that he was going to turn the Department of Justice into a political operation, an arm of the White House to destroy his political opponents, right? He said that the greatest threat to America is the enemy within, and who he said was the enemy within was us, was journalists, were his political opponents. Kash Patel's only qualification is because he agrees with Donald Trump that the Department of Justice should serve to punish, lock up, and intimidate Donald Trump's political opponents.
And if you're not convinced by this, just be aware there is already an enemies list. So they're going to be ready to start on day one. Ultimately, who in the short term is affected by this potential appointment? Well, for starters, of course, there's the current FBI director, Christopher Wray, whose 10-year term is not yet up. Donald announced this weekend that he plans to fire Director Wray in order to replace him with Kash Patel if Wray refuses to step down. Now, there is no reason for Wray to step down. Again, his term isn't up. And if you'll recall, Donald appointed Wray back in 2017 after his notorious firing of Jim Comey via tweet less than 4 years into Comey's 10-year term. And the reason for Comey's firing was because Comey would not pledge loyalty to Donald. Donald's reason for firing Wray is that, quote, he wasn't doing a good job. Take a look at this clip.
President-elect Trump's plan to replace current FBI Director Christopher Wray with Kash Patel has drawn bipartisan fire. Patel has openly discussed his desire to dismantle the law enforcement agency and rebuild it from scratch. Putting him in charge of the FBI would require forcing out Wray, who was appointed by Trump before Wray's term expires in 2027. FBI directors serve 10-year terms, in part to shield the Bureau's leader from political pressure.
We accept that the president should have the people that he wants in his cabinet and on his team. Every president wants that. We give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, in what universe does Donald Trump deserve the benefit of the doubt anymore? But anyway, that is not how things are supposed to be done. This sort of behavior, however, is completely standard for Donald, and he's been getting away with it since his first term. Back then, he fired former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe a mere 26 hours before McCabe's scheduled retirement. This was a retaliatory move which eliminated McCabe's ability to get a pension and other retirement benefits. Here's what McCabe has to say about the Patel nomination on a Saturday night appearance on CNN.
It's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. So I think what we should really be thinking about right now is, what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI?
Yeah. And first and foremost, though, it's really important to emphasize that firing Wray would be a blatantly corrupt move, no matter who was chosen to replace him. And if it's Patel, then he starts out as a corrupt director. Obviously, though, Patel is uniquely awful. So let's summarize. First of all, he's advocated for using DOJ power to prosecute judges, lawyers, and journalists who've dared try to hold Donald Trump to account. He's proposed converting the FBI building into a, quote, deep state museum, unquote. He's pledged to remove what he calls government gangsters from bureaus. He supported January 6 rioters and insurrectionists. He's promoted false election fraud claims despite dozens of court rulings saying that the 2020 election was free and fair. He's advanced QAnon conspiracy theories. He's attacked the purported deep state, and he's worked to discredit Russia investigation findings. Like most of Donald's other nominees to key posts, Patel is not just massively unqualified, he is some combination of deranged, dangerous, and corrupt. Look, too often, Donald's nominees are being treated as if they've already been appointed. Let's not do that, okay? Because it isn't true. Patel still needs to go through a Senate confirmation hearing, which Senate Democrats, if they're willing to fight, can make grueling and potentially humiliating, and hopefully put an end to any Republican senator's willingness to back this crazy person. Even some Senate Republicans can still be swayed. So please call, write their offices. It really can make a difference. Hey, everybody. In case you weren't aware, I am spectacularly bad at self-promotion. So here goes. Please subscribe to our channel and like and share our videos. Your support means so much to all of us. Thank you.